I hope you've been following us the last couple of weeks where we've been talking about how we can be rooted, how we can grow deep, and how we can live strong. Last weekend, we talked about the big story, the narrative that runs from the beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible, and we looked at an incredibly tall post oak tree. It's probably the tallest in the world, and it's only 1.5 miles from our church. Now, this week, I'm coming to you from my backyard, and I want to share with you a plant that you've probably seen and played with. And if you take good care of your yard, you may not have many of them. I have a bunch of them in my yard, as you can probably see. We like lots of colors in our grass. It's the dandelion, and they are fun to look at, but they are hard to get rid of. Now, these dandelions just demonstrate one of the ways that nature tries to propagate, how it spreads out and how it grows, because even nature tries to expand. Now, I have a beautiful black maple tree in my backyard, and it has these incredible helicopter seeds that will fall, and as the seasons change and as the wind blows, they can blow for miles. Now, interestingly, this little dandelion starts off as a flower and eventually grows these seeds that it will spread out as the wind blows. A single dandelion can grow up to 170 seeds at a time. In the span of a year, it will probably produce somewhere around 2,000 seeds. And if you had an acre of land filled with dandelions, they would probably produce somewhere around 240 million seeds per year. That's a lot of seeds. Now, these interesting little plants, they will grow to be about 12 inches tall. But if you've ever tried to get rid of them by pulling them up or mowing them over with your mower, you'll notice they come right back because their roots continue to grow deep, and they can grow up to 18 inches below the surface of the ground. So if you pull one up, it's probably just going to pop right back up after a few days. Now, it will go through several cycles of growing these seeds with these helicopter-like attachments to them. And when a strong wind comes, it picks them up off of the stem, and they can blow for around 5 miles. It's pretty amazing how far they can go. Now, you've probably done that as a kid. They are a lot of fun to watch. Let's see if I can make this one take off. And they're gone. Up to 170 seeds are now spreading around my yard, and they will probably germinate, and I'll have more dandelions. You know, this is a beautiful picture of what it looks like to watch the good news spread, just like these dandelion seeds or the helicopter seeds from the maple in my backyard. Jesus wants the gospel to spread. Paul, interestingly, said in his letter to the Romans, he said, "How then will they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how are they to believe in him of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news." Now, Paul didn't make that up. He actually was quoting the prophet Isaiah, who said this before Jesus was ever born. Isaiah said, "How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who publishes peace, who brings good news of happiness, who publishes salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns." Nahum said this. He said, "Behold upon the mountains the feet of him who brings good news, who publishes peace. Keep your feasts, O Judah, fulfill your vows, for never again shall the worthless pass through you. He is utterly cut off." Now, as we read these verses, it really causes some interesting questions to come to mind. And one of those is, what exactly is this good news? What does it look like if this thread, this story that runs from the beginning to the end of the Bible is true? What does it mean to spread this good news? Now, we in a culture after the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus believe it's the gospel. And the gospel literally means the good news. But is that what Nahum meant? Is that what Isaiah meant? Because that's who Paul was quoting. So if they were talking about spreading the good news even before Jesus was born, what was he saying? Perhaps if we understand these passages, we might understand how a person comes to a deep-rooted faith, how they come to a place where they can grow deep and they can live strong. So I hope that whatever you're doing this weekend, that you'll choose to join us online or in person. And I hope that you'll invite someone to join you as well. We are on a search to be rooted, to grow deep, and to live strong.